Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Logic Medico. Today's topic is MCQs in ENT year part 5. So let's see the MCQs. Identify the test. These are the options. This is a test we're talking of. These are the options: caloric test, electronystagmography, optokinetic test, galvanic test, posturography. Your time starts now. Your time is almost up. It's called galvanic. So what is this galvanic test? Let's see. It is the only test which is used to differentiate an end organ lesion from that of the vestibular nerve lesion. Okay. Patient stands with his feet together and eyes closed and arms outstretched, and then a current of 1 milliampere is passed to one of the ear through the electrode which you saw in the previous picture. Normally the patient's face towards the side of the anodal current. That means there is an intact vestibular nerve. So that is the significance of this test. So if at all the patient doesn't sway, that means there is a damage to the vestibular nerve. Okay. So let's see the next question. The Rinne's test positive means, is it conductive hearing loss, normal hearing, sensory neural hearing loss, both A and B, that is conductive hearing loss and normal hearing, or both B and C, that is normal hearing and sensory neural hearing loss. Your time starts now. This you should get it correct. Okay. Your time is almost up. Answer is both B and C, that is normal hearing as well as sensory neural hearing loss. Kindly see this. So what happens whenever the Rinne's test is done? It is done with various frequencies of tuning fork, which you already know that. So what we do with the tuning fork, we'll strike the prongs of the tuning fork on a pad or the palm of the hand and keep it over the mastered process. So the person is hearing from his bone now. So that is called as bone conduction. Subsequently, once the patient raises his hand, we have to explain the procedure to the patient first up. When he raises his hand, that means he stopped hearing. That time we have to keep the vibrating prongs of the tuning fork next to his auricle. So that time his hearing through is the ear. Of course, the opposite ear is also involved, but this is the main ear which is of concern. So that is called as ear conduction. So normally what should be there? Normally ear conduction should be better than bone conduction. Means normally we hear through both bone and ear, but ear conduction is better than bone conduction. That means positive. Positive means Rinne's test positive means you are normal. But in case of sensory neural hearing loss as well, the ear conduction will be better than bone conduction. Okay, because in that scenario bone conduction would have been lost or diminished. But in conductive hearing loss, the conducting pathway, that is external auditory canal or pinna, some deformity is there. That time the ear conduction won't be that good, but the bone conduction will be intact. In that scenario, it's called Rinne's test negative. That is nothing but conductive hearing loss. Okay. Go to the next one. Congenital rubella syndrome triad includes all except cataract, microcephaly, cardiac defects, deafness. Your time starts now. Your time is almost up. Answer is microcephaly. So cataract will be there, cardiac defect will be there, deafness will be there. But microcephaly is not in the triad of congenital rubella syndrome. Okay. So what is this congenital rubella syndrome? Rubella is a viral infection which happens to the mother when she is carrying. If it happens to the mother, then the child will be affected. So it is one of the infective cause for torch group of infection in mother, especially in first trimester. So during that time, the child can have the following defect: growth retardation, rash will be there, hepatosplenomegaly, enlargement of liver and spleen, jaundice, meningoencephalitis, infection of meninges in the brain, and CNS defect resulting in severe mental retardation also can be there. So all these are there, but the classical triad includes cataract, that is white color patch within the lens, cardiac abnormality, mainly patent ductus arteriosus, and deafness, that is sensory neural hearing loss. That is a classical triad. Okay, cataract, cardiac abnormalities, and deafness. Next, identify the tympanogram of retracted tympanic membrane. Your time starts now. Options AD, A, AS, B, and C. These are the various graphs available. Your time has started. Time is almost up. If you are told type C, then you are told correct answer. So what is this type C? You can see the compliance of this tympanic membrane has been improved. So when does the compliance of the tympanic membrane improve? When the tympanic membrane is pulled inwards, that is retracted tympanic membrane. That's why where this A is normal, okay, A is normal. Normally the tympanic membrane in neutral position, so that will be the highest peak. But here the highest peak has come at minus 200, so that shows that the tympanic membrane is pulled inwards. It's called retracted tympanic membrane. Compliance will be highest at a negative level. Okay. Next, cauliflower ear is seen in, interesting question, flight crew, factory workers, rock stars, boxers. Where do you see cauliflower ear? Okay, time starts now. Your time is almost up. It is usually seen in boxers. Okay, so in boxers we see cauliflower ear. This is a normal external ear, but when there is repeated hitting on this area by the, which usually happens in boxers, there is inflammation of the cartilage, elastic cartilage, the covering perichondrium of the elastic cartilage. That's why it's called as perichondritis. So that time the boxer will have, at the end of his career, the ear will be like this, like a surface of the cauliflower. Therefore it's called as cauliflower ear. It is nothing but perichondritis of the pinna. Okay. Next question. Semicircular canal are all except, is it anterior, posterior, medial, lateral? All are semicircular canals, okay, except one. Which is that one? Time is almost up. 10 seconds. So medial semicircular canal. There is nothing called medial semicircular canal. Okay, this is the anterior, this is the posterior or the superior, and this will be the lateral semicircular canal. So you should tell me which is this semicircular canals. If I move my head forwards and backwards, in which semicircular will the fluid move? In this, it is an anterior, or in this posterior, or in this lateral? If you are told this, then it's correct. If you move your head forwards and backwards, that's nodding movement, the fluid moves in superior or the anterior semicircular canal, which is there in the sagittal plane. If you move your head side to side, like telling no, where it will move? It moves in this one, lateral semicircular canal. If you shake your head like saying no, it moves in lateral, or the also called as horizontal semicircular canal. If you move your head, obviously in a fashion from side to side, from one shoulder to another shoulder, side to side, it will move in this canal. It's posterior semicircular canal. Tilting movement or moving from side to side, it will move. Okay. Both the semicircular canal fluids on both the inner ears moves in same direction. That time there won't be any giddiness. Otherwise, the person will get vertigo or giddiness. Another interesting test. Identify the test. Please, Halpix, Foster's, Brand, Darrow, Semont. This is the test. Okay. Time starts now. Our time is almost up. If you are told Halpic, then you have told the correct answer. Okay. So in the Halpic test, is also called Dix-Halpic maneuver. This is test for canalithiasis, that stone which is there, otolithium, the inner ear, especially in the posterior semicircular canal. It's been displaced from its place. So it usually happens in BPPV, benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. So let me tell you about the test. The person is first sitting on the edge of the table like this. Then he's been asked to turn his neck 45 degree, or we should only turn the neck for 45 degree. Then he is asked to lie down with the head hanging around the edge of the table like this. Then we have to observe for movement in his eyes. If at all the nystagmus is present, that movement in the eye is called nystagmus. It is present means the test is called positive. That means he has got BPPV on that particular side. If it doesn't come, then we have to do the same test on the opposite side. If it comes on that side, then the person is told to have BPPV on the opposite side. So this shows the vertigo. The person has got a vertigo, giddiness symptom. He will have nystagmus positive. This confirms the patient has got, this test, Halpix test, confirms patient has got BPPV. Okay. Next question. Otitis externa, also known as all the following except. Options: Singapore ear, swimmer's ear, boxer's ear, telephonist ear. Your time starts now. The time is almost up. Answer is boxer's ear. Okay, so otitis externa is called all the thing except boxer's ear, because boxer's ear is perichondritis. It is not otitis externa. Okay, so this is otitis externa, inflammation of the external ear. It's called otitis externa. It is seen in most commonly in Singapore. So Singapore's ear. It is seen most commonly in swimmers who dive in cold water. That's swimmer's ear. It is also seen in telephonists. We use that on telephone call. The telephone is always pressed on this pinna or the external ear. Therefore, it happens. Otitis externa happens. Okay. Next interesting question. Angle made by the tympanic membrane with the floor of the external auditory canal is 35 degrees, 45 degree, 55 degree, or 65 degree. What time starts now? This you should get it correct. Time is almost up. Yeah, 55 degree is the correct answer. Please see here, external auditory canal. This is the external auditory canal. It's part of the outer ear. The outer portion is directed upwards, backwards, and medially. The inner portion is directed downwards, forwards, and medially. When it touches the tympanic membrane, you can clearly make out the roof of the external auditory canal is shorter when compared to the floor. Floor is longer, and this floor makes an angle. Can you make out? With the tympanic membrane, because tympanic membrane is obliquely present. If it is present vertically, then all the sound waves which come will get reflected like that only. Then there is no hearing for anybody in this world. So it's obliquely oriented to the floor of the external auditory canal. So what is this angle? Answer is 55 degree. This is the optimum position at which the tympanic membrane can function. Okay, this you have to remember, 55 degrees. Okay. Deafness in Paget's disease is due to. Options are 8th cranial nerve compression, otitis media, labyrinthitis, tympanic membrane perforation, all of the above. Your time starts now. If you are told 8th cranial nerve compression, then you are told the correct answer. First of all, what is this Paget's disease? Actually, it's a disease of the bone. Our organ of hearing and equilibrium is present in pittrous part of temporal bone. Paget's disease can affect any bone. If it affects this pittrous part of temporal bone, then even our inner ear can get damaged, even our nerve can get damaged, because this bone remodeling disorder will compress this nerve, and thereby the vestibulocochlear nerve will get damaged. The person will have what type of hearing loss? Sensory neural hearing loss they will have. Okay, and it is bilateral, because this is a generalized disease, so obviously you will have bilateral sensory neural hearing loss. Then they can also get conductive type subsequently when it is occluding all the other parts, or they may have both the lesions, but mainly you will get sensory neural hearing loss. Okay, last but not the least, picture test. Can you guess what is this ear called as? How does it resemble? The time starts now. Most of the people tell that the coronavirus came from which bird or animal? If you can think, give me a clue. Time is almost up. Okay, if you are told bat ear, then it's a correct answer. It's also called lop ear or the bat ear, because this resembles that of the ear of the bat. Okay, the concha is really large, but you can see there is a helix, but where is the anti-helix? Anti-helix is not developed. Helix is there, concha is there, big concha is there, but anti-helix is not well developed, it's poorly developed. So cosmetic surgery is required, otherwise every other person will tease this person. To prevent that, cosmetic surgery is required, not at the time of birth, but at the age of 6 years. That time it's believed that the pinna is fully developed. That's why cosmetic surgery is required. It's called bat ear or the lop ear. Okay, concha is large, helix is well developed, but the anti-helix is not developed. Cosmetic surgery at the age of 6. Okay. Like and share this video with your family and friends. Subscribe to the channel and press the bell button. Thank you once again.